What up, it's your boy Tank, and you are now tuned in to The Biz with D.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into The Biz with D right here, right now, with your one and only rockstar on the mic, David Dwayne. We got our boy, R&B recording artist, Tank, joined with us again. What's going on, Tank?
Man, everything's beautiful, man. How about yourself?
Glad to hear it. We're good. Just so glad to speak to you so early on in the year. And Happy New Year to you. You know, it's like March.
Yeah, no, it's still early.
Definitely glad you can come back on the show because, I mean, you've been keeping it consistent and busy since the last time we talked. We talked right before Stronger came out and that run with Essence. Tell me how that experience was doing Essence and that campaign.
It was real cool, man, because Essence kind of got involved, with the whole album process. So, we did the big contest with, getting somebody to actually be able to come on Essence stage, that main stage, and sing with me in front of thousands and thousands of people, So it was so awesome to hear all of these singers all around the world that just wanted to have an opportunity just to be heard. It was like being young in the business again and just seeing that young energy all over again, where people weren't jaded by any bad business practices they had been through or anything. They were just hungry just to sing, just to get an opportunity to sing and to be able to provide that opportunity and for Essence to get behind it and make it as big as they made it. Man, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
And I was, paying attention to the campaign and just how everything was structured and how many people were interested in taking part of it was just so phenomenal. Were you surprised by the response of, wanting to be a part of such a great opportunity?
Well, no, the opportunity was in two parts. We had the training we were doing as well with the Stronger Youth campaign with the fitness company, as well as the singing part of it as well. And, it's always a shock to see how many people are actually paying attention and how many people still want to be involved in just the hard-working aspect of it, because that's what I represent. I represent the hard-working man in the music industry, So to see so many people respond, and, so many people just championing movement on both levels, I thought it was awesome because for me, I don't ever take those moments for granted. Just as easily as someone could be into the movement is just as easy as they could not be. A lot of artists put out movements and put out campaigns and say, hey, you want to be part of my campaign? And, don't allow people to raise their hands, And so to have people raise their hands and get out and running after opportunities to be a part of anything that they're doing, I counted it all a blessing.
Absolutely. And you mentioned running in the fitness. Now, we totally missed that because I don't know who didn't tell us the info on that. But I saw a lot of people really got involved with the fitness workshop that you did. Do you plan on doing another campaign run just similar to that?
It's going to be more than just a campaign. Like, this is going to be online training. This is going to be apparel. This is going to be supplementation. It's going to be nutrition. It's going to be the full thing.
Wow.
We have a real audience. We have some people that are really interested in this information, and not only just interested in the information, but interested in getting it from me. Now we're gonna make use of that audience.
Yeah, you got to, because I feel like a lot of people, with them having such a strong interest in, the fitness and, you got to expand on that. I'm glad that you guys are going to expand on that because I was watching from not too much from afar and I was like, this is dope. And I remember you telling me before, you guys are definitely trying to strategize how you're going to build upon this and make it a bigger platform. Because I've noticed that even younger people that are like in their early 20s and even in their late teens even want to get involved with the movement. Have you noticed that on your end too?
Well, yes, absolutely. Because there's a fitness craze that's starting to pick up, and it's because people people, since we're moving into such a visual space with all the Instagram and all of these things, like everybody wants to look good on camera, so now everybody's starting to try to put in a little work so that when they take the Instagram photos or take the Facebook photos or, all those cool little things, that they look good and that they're competitive, with the rest of the people that are putting all of their business on, on social media. So it's starting to happen, and so people are looking to different people to get the secrets and to figure out how to do it and get it done. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys. So, the information is to be still not told, baby. So we're going to get out there and just make this information available. But, we're going to be smart about it and figure out good ways to monetize it.
And that's important, especially with social media and stuff like that. I mean, you guys have been doing great with just that promotion aspect, with the Stronger campaign, and even this recent EP, If You Were Mine, which is phenomenal. I got to ask you, what made you decide to want to do a EP close to Valentine's Day?
Energy. And, we should do something to kind of shake things up, you know what I mean, and get people, in different spaces to hear your voice. You already have your core fans, you service your musicians, your singers, and, all of those who've been with you since Make That Observe and Please Don't Go, but there are still a lot of people, who are unaware of who Tank is, and a lot of people on, the mainstream side and even on the pop side who don't really know who Tank is, and so our dilemma has always been not a matter of doing good music, but just being able to reach more people. It's like when people finally hear me, they're like, oh, man, you're good. Where you been? And I'm like, man, I've been in this business 15 years. You know what I mean? So,
right.
The EP was a good opportunity to cover, of course, some music that I thought was awesome, that I would have loved to had originally. And by being on those songs, by covering those songs, it had such an amazing, huge fan base already. And the majority of those fans are people who don't necessarily know who Tank is. It gave me an opportunity to hear those same people, you know what I mean, who would just listen to the song and sing along with it, not knowing until, maybe a few changes down the line, like, oh, this is not the original song. Who's this guy? You know what I mean? Oh, that's Tank.
Right.
Who's Tank? He's singing these songs like he mean it. You know what I mean? Like these are his records. And so, that's really what we wanted. We wanted to pay honor to the songs, but we also wanted to capture the ears of the people who love and enjoy those songs and say, hey, we're here too. You know what I mean? We do some cool things over here. And maybe if you heard us on some things that you're more familiar with, that you'd understand me a lot better, or you'd be able to hear me a lot clearer. And so far, it's working.
Absolutely. And I think that was a great avenue to go, especially covering like pop songs like from Adele and Sam Smith, because people in the I'm not going to live by a culture, but people that like pop music, they don't necessarily understand that in quote unquote the urban world that we know of that music and we can do, and it can be just as done. And sometimes our culture is behind these big pop songs that they're singing, and they have no knowledge of that. So I think that was the
it was a thing where we wanted to reestablish that connection, to us doing great soul music as well. You know what I mean? That's just kind of where it started, and when I get all the tweets and all the Instagrams and people say, man, Sam Smith sounds like Tank or something. He's trying to be Tank, and I'm like, no, Sam Smith he's doing Sam Smith. He knows soul R&B. You know what I mean? And I just happen to fall in that category. So it was even greater. We do that power light as well to be shined upon some of the music.
Wait, say that last part again. Tank, your signal was cutting out.
No, I said we need some of that light to shine, some of that mainstream light to shine on us as well. You know what I mean? Some of our good R&B music, our good representations of positive music.
And I think this project definitely was positive, and it opened up people's minds to understand that, it's not just about a certain dynamic that people want to believe in, or maybe that's not the word, or a certain persona within music.
Well, you can we can kill the elephant in the room and say it's not just about being white. You know what I mean? Music, as it pertains to good music, doesn't have a color. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be about, where this person is from or what this person looks like. It should just be about a great song. And unfortunately, some of the industry and some of the dynamics of how this thing is set up, it's not set up that way. It's not set up fairly to where just good music gets a shot. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's not about, being mad at any artist, at a Sam Smith or a Justin Timberlake, because they're getting some opportunities that I'm not getting. Like that's not what it's about, because honestly, they're doing great music. You can't, you can't dispute that. You can't be mad at that. I only support it. I was at 9 Justin Timberlake concerts. I had 11, and I was part of the tour. You know what I mean? And I sat and I took notes. You know what I mean? Like a student. Like, wow, this is amazing. You know what I mean? So it's not the color lines amongst us, or the demographic lines, or kind of lines amongst us as artists or producers or entertainers or anything. It's just some of the things around it, some of the powers around it that for some reason want to separate us from each other. But if we could all come together and do We Are the World and really make a change, then, back in those days, then we can still do it now. You know what I mean? Music should not be segregated like that. It should not be. Music it's the language of love, and it's the only thing that crosses all barriers. It crosses everything. And so we got to find a way to put it all together. All of us, everybody, all in the same room, just making music, man.
Right. And I agree. And especially with the fact that you have there are those fans and those music supporters that won't even understand the fact that R&B artists cross over, and they have such a harsh opinion on that. Like, why can't people just create music and, be universal and express? Why is there got to be hate towards it wanting to cross over?
Exactly. It's sometimes, you just want to be free. You know what I mean? And there's always a box that people are going to try to put you in. But when it comes to being creative, there's no box for that. As a business person, you want to identify with the things that work for you and your consumer, and the things that for your brand, and the thing that you really, really, really do well. You definitely being creative. You know what I mean? You just want to be free to express your day. Every day is not the same day. You know what I mean? Every outfit is not the same outfit. You know what I mean? Every woman you're in a relationship is not the same woman. So quite naturally, the music is going to be different, because the music relates to all of these things. You know what I mean? Sometimes the sound's going to be different. Sometimes the wording is going to be different, the phrasing, even the tone in which you sing it. You know what I mean? It's all going to be different, because being creative is just about your everyday life, which is not the same. So, as long as the people give us room to just grow and be us, humans and individuals, then, we'll see people starting to get back into this real life music. You know what I mean? And
let's talk about being able to express yourself, because I know on Instagram you had expressed, how we're expressing about R&B music right now. You kind of had made, you made a comment about this Stronger being your last album. Do you still feel that Stronger is the last album, or do you feel like you're just going to go ahead and continue?
Well, no, what I said was Stronger might be my last real R&B album. I didn't say my last album. And in terms of real R&B, it's like you make these moments where, you know, what I remember R&B for is, you know, when I listen to Marvin Gaye and I listen to Al Green and I listen to all these guys, I listen to, you know, the stuff that Quincy Jones was doing, and, you know, they were making magic. They were calling in musicians. They were calling in composers. They were calling in, I mean, they were just calling all cars when it came to making music. And nowadays it's like if you're making music based on talent, based on just trying to create magic, then it's almost like you're in the wrong era, and it's probably in the wrong business. You know what I mean? Because you can probably count on one hand, probably one finger, a song that's on, you know, on urban mainstream radio that is, you know, that is done with all live musicians. You know what I mean? As it pertains to what we do. You know, now if you go to the pop stations, I mean, you hear it all day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I say there's a difference, you know what I mean, just in terms of some of what we're allowed to be able to create. It's like there's a box already designed for us. And if we try to kind of step outside that box, then it's like, no, that's not the box we want you in. We want you in the 808 box.
Mm-hmm.
We want you in that box, and that's the box that where we'll make sure you get played. We want you in the box that has lyrics that degrade women. We want you in that box. You know what I mean? They call them out their names, call them bitches and hoes. We want you in that box. If you're trying to be in this positive box, you're gonna have your work cut out for you. You know what I mean? And those are some of the differences that I'm saying. It's just not cool. It's just not fair. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, I go back, I'm not mad at any of these artists, but if I sing Stay With Me, it goes to Urban AC Radio, which has a very small bandwidth. You know what I'm saying? It's not anything that's going to put me in a space to sell 200, 300,000 records my first week. But Sam Smith sang Stay With Me, and it went to every pop and power station in the world. So there's something going on that nobody wants to address, that nobody really wants to speak on. Nobody wants to ruffle any feathers, or, you know what I mean, or rattle any cages, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But let's not pretend like it's not there. If nobody wants to, have the debate and have a vote on it and really, start picketing and marching the streets, Selma style on it, then that's fine. Let's at least acknowledge that there is something going on, and that it just needs to be thought about.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's no reason why, like you said, if let's say Stay With Me was originally your song, or if it was like Luke James' song, because he had the version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And people would be, and people would.
What I say is this.
Go ahead.
Sorry. It's not about me. You know what I mean? I think people took the post just because I wrote it and made it about me, you. No, I'm speaking for a lot of great R&B artists that should be, that deserve just as much mainstream success as I feel I do. A lot of great singers, a lot of great writers and producers who are just amazing, flat out amazing. I'm not the only good R&B singer, the only good R&B writer and producer. I just decided to be the person to speak up for them.
That's a good point. And I've been thinking about it a lot myself. Like, okay, if we can, even Nick Jonas, he's now classified as R&B with his album. And I've seen people on Twitter even comment and say, I don't know where Nick Jonas is R&B.
Listen, I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you, that Jealous record is R&B record.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people can kind of feel a certain way, but I'll tell you, a guy named Luke James who would sing that record right there and would put some fire on it, you know what I mean? And everybody was like, oh, that's a great R&B record, you know what I mean? So it kind of goes both ways, just because Nick Jonas is a white kid doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, he ain't got no soul, and he not singing that thing like when you say, still get jealous. That's church. That ain't. You gotta respect that note right there. You gotta respect that note right there. Like that's real. So the it goes both ways when it comes to everybody understanding, what R&B music is. It can't, man, we can't just be looking for respect from that side. We got to give respect as well.
Now let's talk about your ventures in having artists. Now I know you have 12 Till, phenomenal group. How'd you begin working with them?
Once again, my manager Jay Valentine, one of his brothers hit him up and said, "You got to hear this group on YouTube singing TGT song better than TGT." And so he would have checked it out, man. I was like, "Man, you got to hear these boys. These boys are crazy." And I listened to them, pulled up all the YouTube and just watched them. I said, "We got to have them. We got to have them. They're important. You know what I mean? They're young. They are the new young R&B. You know what I mean? They're what these kids look like. They're what these kids are doing, but they're actually talented. They could be that young voice of real R&B for this generation." And so that's been our mission. You know what I mean? To make these boys, what Jodeci looks to us. When we first heard that Jodeci, we were like, man, it was like R&B that met us where we were, in the hood, just chilling and relaxing. Like there was some R&B that they was singing and like we wanted to say it. You know what I mean? It was just amazing. They looked how we look. It just all made sense. So we want to make those guys, that thing for this generation. Also with Saya, she's one of the craziest female rappers I've probably ever heard in my life. And her artistry and what she represents is just something the world has never seen. And so, I always tell her, I say, this is the road less traveled. So a lot of this is going to be us constructing a road. It's going to be us building, digging up terrain, digging up cement, digging up, cutting down trees. Just a lot of this is going to be hard work. But I promise you, when we get there, we're going to be there because it's yours. It's just yours. Nobody's been there. Nobody's doing this. And so, it's available, but all of my artists, you know what I mean? Because I had to fight that fight myself. And I know the benefit of being your own artist. I know the benefit of having that thing that people can only get from you.
And with working with Saya and then working with 12 Till on a independent perspective, how has that been, like that creative process been, would you say?
It's been great. We don't answer any questions about our music, and for the most part, I don't answer any questions about my music anyway. I just make my music. That's how it's kind of always been for me because, I've had that kind of respect and rapport, with the labels that I deal with. So, everybody knows that I make music. This is what I do. I make good music. I make music for, the older demographic to the younger demographic, whether it be me working on Charlie Wilson or me working on Chris Brown. That's what I do. That's what I'm never respected for. So I've never really answered a whole lot of questions in that, and not only just the music, but even in terms of how it's promoted, how we release it. Now we're more in control of those aspects as well. So it's different, but it's.
And with your next project, do you think that you will do it still release it through Atlantic Records, or do you think you'll probably try to do it independently?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm signed on to Atlantic for like 2 more albums as well as the TGT album. So, as it looks right now, that's where all. We've done some great work together. We've also into some stumbling blocks, which is natural, in making music and being in a relationship. You got to figure it out and fight for it and overcome it. So, I'm definitely looking forward to doing more business with Atlantic, and and it's all business. You know what I mean? We figure out a way to get done what we need to get done. But right now, it's Atlantic Records.
And I see you guys have been started recording the TGT album. How's everything going with the project so far?
No, we haven't started. No, we're not doing anything TGT just yet.
Okay.
Tyrese is finishing his thing, Black Rose. I'm working on my new one. Genuine is touring the world, and we should probably be coming together close to the end of the year to really make something great together.
That's gonna be dope when you guys do. How about touring? Are you guys gonna be doing any upcoming shows?
Nope, no TGT, not till the next album. You know what I mean? Everybody got to wait on that. TGT is something special, so we're not wasting it on one-offs, and you know what I mean. Now, when TGT comes around the next time around, it'll be a full world tour, and it'll be an event to remember.
Absolutely. And I've got to say, I respect you guys' artistry as individuals and as a group for even wanting to do something as great that you guys have done and created, and even being able to say, we're not going to do no one-off dates. If we're going to do it, we're going to do this thing right. We're going to give you a full tour. We're going to give you a full-length thing, because there's a lot of groups out here, or just artists in general, that are doing one-off, stuff like that, but they're not giving their brands everything that they could.
That's key. That's key. Like, you got to see it all the way through. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I admire about artists like Justin Timberlake. Just being around and seeing them see it completely, 100% all the way through, from in terms of merch to staging to the interaction with the fans in terms of social media and the marketing and everything through. And that's what every artist has to learn, is that when you're yourself, you got to feel all of it. You know what I mean? And you gotta figure out what the things are about you that really connect, with your fan base and with the people. You gotta milk it. You gotta supply it. You gotta oversaturate it. You know what I mean? Until you get the results you want. And part of touring is part of seeing that all the way through, and how you tour is part of seeing that plan all through.
That's true. And let me even ask you, when it comes to touring, let's just say for an independent artist, what would you say is the best way or best strategy for an independent artist to tour versus, a major artist? Because I see it kind of from time to time, the way they tour between a major artist and an independent artist is kind of wait a minute, something's not right here. It's all wrong.
You know what? It's now with the technology that we have now, with the access to consumers at our fingertips at this point, there aren't really a whole lot of rules other than to connect with your people and to provide them, with content. Content is key right now. If people fall in love with what you're doing, with what they see about you and what they hear about you, they'll show up. Whether you're at a major label or whether you have no label at all, whether you're not even an entertainer, whether you're just an Instagram star and people just like your photos, they'll show up. They'll show up to see you do something, whether it be stand around or twerk or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what the technology has done for us. It's kind of almost evened out the playing field. You got independent artists that are selling out 2,000, 3,000 seaters with no deal in sight and don't want no deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it's part of going back to that, seeing your brand all the way through. Once you connect with something and you see what people want and like about you, you're able to push any way you see fit. And if you know it doesn't take it doesn't take anything other than some great ingenuity with your fingertips and being able to sell it once the people get there to see you deliver. And you're in.
That's all true. I try to tell people, you just gotta come with content. Even artists that try to come on my show, it's you gotta have content. Your brain has to be together, because if anybody else is to look at it, any other publication, they'll be like, we can't go with this because this is not. There's not enough content. There's not enough activeness going on. It's very stagnant. It's lagging. So it's good to hear you even say it, and my listeners are going to hear now that this is what you got to do, and the precautions you have to take if you want to be an artist, major, independent, underground.
Whatever.
It's really important. And Tank, I definitely got to say thanks so much again for coming back on the show. We definitely appreciate having you, always dropping knowledge and, insight on the music industry, because sometimes, people don't understand that there's so much more to the business and things that, you should do before getting into it.
Absolutely. No problem. I'm an open book. I'm always ready to talk. I'm a talker.
Absolutely. So tell everybody where they can follow you, just in case they don't follow you, which I would be pretty damn mad if I find somebody on my social media that doesn't follow you. I would have to follow them.
I don't have 1 million followers yet, so it's a bunch of people that don't follow me, so that are waiting to press the follow button. It is at The Real Tank on everything. Press the follow button. Follow me. Say you follow me from this show, and I'll follow you back. Let's just get it going.
Absolutely. Y'all heard it. So make sure you tell Tank you were listening, and he'll follow you back. So it's just that simple. And Tank, I got to say, we definitely appreciate you again, and always great chatting with you. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
All right, no doubt. Have a good rest of the day.
You too.